Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Hope you guys are all enjoying your Friday. It's the end of the week and we're going into a bank holiday weekend as well. And it's final weekend of the season as well. Newcastle will take on Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. All of the games are on Sunday at 4:30. Unfortunately, Newcastle is not one of them to get selected for TV. I think had we maybe still needed to get something out of this game to be in the Champions League, that we would have been on TV. But no, it's all the relegation games that are on TV, basically. But it'll be on the radio. I'm sure it'll be on it somewhere online. And if you're going to the game, let me know down below. I've no doubt the boat parties will be back along the Thames as Newcastle celebrate the end of an amazing season. Eddie Howe has already spoken today on his plans for the summer window that I want to talk a little bit about in this video. His plans for next season already, his hopes of, doing well in the Champions League next season. And he's obviously spoken about the Chelsea game as well. This is the preview. I'll talk about what we hope to see from Newcastle this weekend, despite loads of injuries. So we'll talk about that. Talk a little bit about Chelsea, their season, and we'll get into lineups and predictions as well. So be sure to let me know your lineups down below of what players are left available for the game this Sunday, and your prediction. Can Newcastle go out with a bang, get a win? And I know we say that we've got Champions League, the season's over, there's still a game to go, and we can get third. We're 2 points behind Manchester United at the moment. Obviously, they actually beat Chelsea last night. But there's something there to still go for. To get ahead of them would be a nice finish. But as I say, we've done the main work. We've got Champions League. Let's talk a little bit about Chelsea first. So, unlike us, they aren't having a good season. No, they're currently sat mid-table, 12th place. It is confirmed that Chelsea can't get relegated now, so that's a thumbs up for them. But generally speaking, they haven't been good. The amount of money they've spent, the amount of managers they've gone through. Tuchel got sacked, and then Potter came in, and then he got sacked, and then Lampard came in, and Pochettino is set to take over next season, but he's already there doing work behind the scenes, and they've got all these players, 500 million spent, and they've got too many, and it's been an absolute shocker. And I think it's a great sample, and we'll talk about Eddie Howe and what he said for the summer window coming up, but straight away you talk about players. Just seen it right there. You know, how much it matters to do a bit of due diligence and do a bit of work, and what kind of player is he? Will he fit in the squad? Is he the personality that would work with our team? And I think Eddie Howe does that. I think that's why maybe we haven't brought in loads of players, but it's worked. You look at Bruno and how easily and how well he's fitted in. Dan Burn, local lad, Nick Pope stepped in and seems like a great guy. I think it matters to do the work, and it can make things tough going into a window where I think we do need to bring in a few signings. You know, Eddie Howe's talking about 2 or 3 in his interview today. I'm thinking 4 or 5. You could be thinking 7, 8, 9. You know, there is a line somewhere, and we have to be careful where that line is. But when we're wanting to compete in the league, the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, 3 games a week, potentially on some weeks. So we need to have more there. I'll come on to what Eddie Howe said in a moment, but yes, I think Chelsea is the blueprint not to follow going into this summer window. They haven't been playing great. As I mentioned, they just lost 4-1 against Manchester United. They're playing at home on the final game of the season after having a terrible season. Is it their last chance to stand up and say to the fans, look, I know we got it wrong, but we're going to go out and play well today and we'll be back next season? I think that's the mentality they should have. After seeing how bad they've been, I don't know if they will have it. And is that a chance for Newcastle to sneak in there and try and pick up a quick 3 points before the end of the season? I hope so. I mean, I totally back us right now. I think we're riding high. The confidence will be absolutely pumping going into this game. The only thing is the injury news and what players are and are not available. So Eddie Howe did do his press conference today. He was asked about injuries. He said that Nick Pope will be unavailable. He's actually going to have a hand operation. This is something that's been bothering him since March time. He's played through the pain. And, as much as Eddie Howe always screams to me as the kind of guy that's always full on. yes, we've got Champions League, but there's still a game to go. You know, and he will always go full tilt. There's people talking about will Eddie Howe rotate the squad? Yes, I think he will rotate the squad because he has to rotate the squad because there's been injuries. Do I think he will come out and play a load of youngins for the last game? Not really, no. I think he will still take this game as serious as ever. However, he has given Nick Pope permission to go away and get a hand operation. So Nick Pope won't be here. There's a bit of a difference if Nick Pope is playing through pain to be in these games. I don't think this is one to risk it, and it means the quicker he gets the operation done, the quicker he can get back into pre-season. So if that puts him a week ahead of schedule, then I think that's a good thing. Will he just rest players for the sake of it? I don't know, maybe not. Players that also won't feature are Willock. We know that Willock had quite a bad pull on his hamstring. We saw that I saw that in live action in the last home game. Joe Linton is said to also have picked up a knock and won't be playing, and Javier Manquillo. So there's a handful of players there that were available this time a week ago are no longer available. That's the thing. At this point, if we've got players who are stretched and are tired, I wouldn't risk them in this game. If everybody's fighting fit and they're buzzing off the last game, I say go for it, play them. Let's try and get 3 points away from Chelsea. I mean, Eddie Howe jokingly said it's a good job the season has ended because we were getting very, very stretched. And I actually mentioned this in my last video, that I think we have been quite lucky with injuries at the end of the season. Obviously, we had the Wilson in and out. Isak was in and out. We had a bit of Bruno in and out. There has been injuries, don't get me wrong, Longstaff. But kind of coming into the closing stages of this season, we have kept most players fit. And that's the thing. It really helped us with the final push for Champions League. We've got to have that next season. We've got to have the players available to play all these games. Eddie Howe said and was asked about the summer window. Well, he said he's already in planning. He's already planning for the summer. He's already planned for next season. He says after the Chelsea game, he will be straight back into it. No rest for him. I'm sure the players will most certainly go and take a rest after the Chelsea game. So Eddie Howe says not him. He needs to make sure that he's up and running and ready to go, which, you know, it's one of the reasons we like him so much. He is very, very serious. He takes a lot of things to heart. And personally, he knows that it's his job to get these things sorted. In terms of the summer window and bringing players in, he said maybe 1 or 2 players. He actually said that he believes that he will keep around 95% of the current squad. There's rumours to him wanting to keep the likes of Dummett for another deal, Ritchie for another deal, players that really you would have expected to walk at their end of their contract this season. There's obviously question marks around homegrown players, and could that be why Dummett might get an extra deal, but 95% of a squad when, bearing in mind that aside from our regular 11 players, only 5 others started this season. So of a 25-man squad, only 16 of those players have started games this season. But Eddie Howe wants to keep 95%, so that's 6 or 7 players there that haven't featured, or at least haven't started games, he still wants to keep in the squad. I'm thinking I would take this with a pinch of salt. I think Eddie Howe's right. I think he's trying to downplay expectations. He's not going to come out and go, yeah, we're going to get in 8 new players. And if we are bringing in maybe 1, it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, would you rather bring in 6 or 7 mid-range players who are bulking the squad, or do you want to see 2, 3, 4 big players, big expensive players that will immediately add to the starting 11? Because that's what you've got to think. If we go out and spend, pick a position, right midfield. If we go out and spend 50 million on Diaby, straight away that drops Almiron at the bench. But Almiron's a player that we can bring in and can play and will play games. So I do agree with that in a sense, is that if we are bringing in players, it's those that add immediately to the first 11, not just buying 5, 6, 7 players like what Chelsea did, and then we can't get them in the team. Be careful, be thoughtful with what we're doing, and I do agree. And I think when Eddie Howe says 1 or 2, I think what he's also doing is trying to downplay it, because he doesn't want to come out and promise the world and then not deliver. If he goes in quiet and comes out with more, I think the fans will be a lot happier. So yeah, Eddie Howe's downplaying it as he always does. He was asked about budgets. He said that he's hoping to have his budget very soon. He was also asked about sponsors and how that could help the team. He actually said that any deals going on right now will unlikely affect us this summer. But it's thought, well, he said that they certainly will in the future, and that it's a big thing for the club to get sorted. On to lineups, so we'll put mine on screen now. Be sure to let me know yours down below. As I've said, there is a few injuries, so you will have to let me know if you agree or disagree. Having said that, although there is injuries, I think generally what I've put together looks pretty good still. I mean, in goal, Karius, Dubravka, who's it going to be? I've gone for Karius. Why not? I think if I had to be honest, I'd guess it would be Dubravka. But Dubravka's had a bit of a cloud over him since he was here, then he was there, then he was back. You know, Karius has stepped up. So I've given him the last game of the season. Across the back, I've gone Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Burn. That's unchanged. I've not seen anything to say that there will be injuries there. If one of them's tired, could we see Lascelles step in? Maybe give Lascelles a game. It's what's Eddie Howe's mentality going into this? Because knowing Eddie Howe, you'll want to win. And if Shaw and Botman are available, you play them. In midfield, Bruno's there, which is good. Longstaff's back and is there, which is good. No Joe Linton, no Willock. So I've put in Elliot Anderson, who came in the last game when, or the one before, when Willock had the injury. And I thought he did all right. You know, I still feel like Elliot Anderson hasn't had the game time that he should have had this season. And if we weren't going to play him, we should have put him in the Championship on loan. But then if he wasn't here, who would we play in this game? Or who would we have brought in all those times he did play? So I don't want to stunt his growth, but we needed a player. And he has stepped up when he's been needed. He's had a few good games as well. Up front, I've gone for Almiron, Wilson, Isak. Could this be the chance where someone like Gordon comes in and plays? You know, how's Maxi doing? Could he play in this game? You know, there is options there. And because, as I've mentioned, although it would be great to get the win and potentially finish third, we have really done our job. So would I be surprised to see movement in that lineup? No. Would you like, or would you prefer to see us play Gordon, Maxi? Give some of these guys a go that haven't had the chance this season. Let me know down below. And in terms of prediction, I've gone for a win. I've gone 2-1 Newcastle. I've stepped away from my usual 1-0 predictions. I think they'll be up for it, but I also think that if we score, then the Chelsea fans and players' heads will go down. Whereas for us, I think because we are riding that high, they are riding that low, I'll be interested to know who the favourites are in this one. You imagine it would be them, I guess, but I think we should be getting some good odds on this because I do think we'll go down there and cause a bit of a stir. So let me know your thoughts on the predictions. Let me know your thoughts on the lineup. Let me know your thoughts on Eddie Howe's thoughts on the summer window and keeping the majority of the squad. And I think the likes of Fraser will go, but I think a lot of people would immediately go, yeah, Dummett, Richie, Lascelles, you know, these guys. I don't know. Lewis, Manquillo, you know, that's a lot of players there that aren't playing. You know, so if we're not moving them on, then we're not making space. But I think Eddie Howe's he actually said that these players deserve to play next year because of the work they've done this year, which you can't deny. But there's going to have to be a happy medium, and I'm sure we'll have to find out how we do it this summer. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, drop a like, subscribe. I will be back for the game at the weekend. Previews, reviews, vlogs, so be sure to stick around. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.